Okay, and get my gavel out, make it official. And good afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and call this session of the City of Gig Harbor Hearing Examiner to order. For the record, today is June 7th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. We have one item on the agenda at 1:30. This is number PLCUP 21-0005. The Breakwater Bed and Breakfast Conditional Use Permit application, and it involves a request for approval of a conditional use permit to establish a lodging level 2 use in the waterfront commercial zoning district for a short-term rental in an existing mixed-use building at 8811 North Harborview Drive. My name is Andrew Reeves. I'm a hearing examiner with Sound Law Center, who the city has selected to hold certain land use application hearings like this one, and today it will be my role to collect evidence in the form of exhibits and testimony to determine whether this proposal is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, zoning ordinances, critical areas ordinances, and meets the specific criteria for approval of a conditional use permit under section 1764040 of the municipal code. To that end, I received several exhibits in advance of the hearing today that I had an opportunity to review. These include a staff report prepared by city staff, the application materials submitted by the applicant, information on the notice that went out in relation to the application, as well as today's hearing, and information on the technical review that occurred by various departments and agencies. And then I believe there were two comments, one essentially saying no comment, and the other, I believe, was from the Squaxin Island, I think it was, but I know there was one comment from one of our tribal entities essentially saying no concerns except if DAHP or someone else wants a cultural survey. We would agree with that, being that this proposal involves no digging or construction, highly unlikely. So I think that covers the exhibits A through F that I did review. But if anyone has additional exhibits they'd like included in the record, please let me know when it's your opportunity to testify, and I'll address submitting additional exhibits at that time. Speaking of testimony, all testimony will be under oath or affirmation. That's because we're my decision to be appealed under our state's Land Use Petition Act, or LUPA. The recording of today's hearing, as well as the admitted exhibits and my decision, would serve as the foundation for any such appeal. Finally, the order we typically follow, and I believe we're going to follow today, is first I'll swear in city staff, who will give a brief overview of the review process that led us to today. After that, we'll go to one of our applicant team members to present any additional information they feel that myself or members of the public should be aware of in advance of my making a decision on the proposal. Then we'll see if there are any members of the public interested in testifying, and if so, they will have that opportunity. And then if necessary and appropriate at the end, I'll go back to the applicant team and city staff to respond to any such testimony. So that's the order we're going to follow. I don't believe we have any members of the public that have joined at the time. Okay, so with that in mind, I will note I am quite under the weather. I apologize in advance. I don't normally push for expedited review, but Mr. Hammer, I'm going to swear you in, and I do promise I read your staff report thoroughly. And if you want to maybe just hit the high notes, that would be helpful. So with that, I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony you give here today?
I do.
Thank you. And can you just clearly spell and state your name for the record?
Jeremy Hammer. It's JEREMY. HAMMAR. I don't know why it's spelled wrong in my own.
Right, I thought it was AR. Okay.
That's kind of odd.
And your role at the city, Mr. Hammer?
Associate Planner, City of Gig Harbor.
All right, go right ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. Reeves. Good morning, everybody. We're here for the hearing examiner's decision on the Breakwater Bed and Breakfast conditional use permit, which is encompassed in PLCUP 21-0005. The proposed lodging level 2 would operate out of an existing mixed use building located at 8811 North Harborview Drive, owned by Haley Nichols. The 132 square foot space would serve as short-term lodging for up to 2 guests. The use is regarded in Gig Harbor Municipal Code as lodging level 2 use. Lodging level 2 may be conditionally permitted in the WC Waterfront Commercial Zoning District in which the site is located. The applicant has prepared a conditional use permit justification letter in support of the request, which is included as attachment B to the staff report. The 0.4 acre site is located within the WC zoning district, as well as the historic district, and is surrounded on adjacent sides by WC zoning and B2 general business zoning located on the opposite side of North Harborview Drive. The site has a slight slope down towards the southeast at an approximate 18% grade. Access to the site will be provided from North Harborview Drive. The site is located within the city waterfront shoreline designation, and the scope of the application is exempt from SEPA. All proper noticing was provided for this application and public hearing. Staff received 2 comments for the notice of application. Those comments were included as exhibits E and F to the staff report. The comment included as exhibit E was submitted by Larry Bradbury, which, as the examiner previously noted, was generally made known. Exhibit F is a comment in response to the notice of application from the Squaxin Tribe of Indians. Yes.
Mr. Hammer, I apologize. When you turn your head a little too far, for whatever reason, the audio doesn't catch. So you were just saying exhibit E was, etc. If you can start with exhibit E was, that would
be. Exhibit E was submitted by Larry Bradbury in support of the proposal. So what essentially states he has no comments. Exhibit F is a comment from the Squaxin Island Tribe of Indians that the Island Tribe would concur with the recommendations from the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, DAHP. Should any recommendation be provided to the city? However, no recommendations were provided from the DAHP related to the proposal. City received no comments in response to the notice of public hearing at the time the staff report was written, or at this time. Staff has reviewed the conditional use permit request for consistency with all relevant provisions of City of Gig Harbor's municipal code comprehensive plan. This analysis is detailed in section 8 of the staff report, which I will summarize now. The proposal is consistent with city's definition of lodging level 2 in Gig Harbor Municipal Code section 1704445, which is defined as an establishment providing sleeping accommodations with the majority of all guest rooms having direct access to the outside without the necessity of passing through the main lobby of the building, with or without food services, and may include conference facilities. Lodging level 2 is conditionally permitted in the WC zoning district, provided that the conditional use permit decision criteria set forth in Gig Harbor Municipal Code section 1764040 is met. The proposal aids in preserving the character already established by not proposing any exterior alterations to the existing building. The proposed bed and breakfast is located in a manner which can be served by public facilities and street capacities without placing an undue burden on such facilities if properly conditioned. The proposed use does not require an increase in required parking for the space and is located less than 500 feet from the nearest public transportation stop. Considering this analysis, staff recommends the hearing examiner conditionally approve the proposed conditional use permit for Breakwater Bed and Breakfast. Should the examiner decide to approve the CUP, staff recommends the imposition of the conditions outlined in section 10 of the staff report. That concludes my brief of the project. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Mr. Hammer. Excuse me, just to clarify, well, first off, Larry Bradbury, I guess, is he a member of the public at large, or was he connected? Somehow I couldn't figure out who he was.
He is a planning commissioner.
Oh, okay. We'll leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of sort of basic thought process here, so you explain lodging level 2, and I know it's clearly defined in the code, and we're here for a CUP because that use, as it were, is allowed with a conditional use permit. I know that sometimes with certain types of uses in some jurisdictions, especially those that are related to short-term lodging, there are additional performance standards. Is that not the case?
Not at this time.
For something like this?
City's currently working on changes to their short-term rental code, and this application came in prior under prior regulations. So
Okay, so
there are
there's
no additional.
additional performance standards. One might call them the Airbnb. I'm not saying this is Airbnb, but I think we all understand Airbnb led to a lot of jurisdictions saying, hey, we might need to have some rules in place. So
Yes.
thank you for clarifying. And I guess I'll piggyback on that, which is you just stated the city is working on these things, et cetera, but are there any actual changes or amendments to the comprehensive plan or zoning code that have occurred since the application was deemed complete that I should be aware of?
There is not.
Excellent, okay. And I believe it was in the staff report, but can you clarify, is the zoning designation identical with the comprehensive plan designation? Or is there any difference there?
No significant differences.
No difference, at least in
No.
terms of this particular property?
Nope.
Excellent, okay. And then in terms of the exhibits, did my befuddled explanation of what I reviewed, which included your staff report and exhibits A through F, did that track with what you were hoping I would review in advance of the hearing?
Yes, correct. Those were all the exhibits that were included.
Okay. Excellent. I don't believe then I had any other specific questions for city staff. Did you have anything further before we move on to our applicant team?
Nothing further from the city.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Hammer.
Thank
And
you.
I'm happy to hear from whoever wanted to take charge. If you can just, is it Haley Nichols?
Yep, I'll keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear
Okay.
or affirm to tell the truth in testimony you give here today?
I do.
And could you clearly spell and then state your name for the record and explain your role with this project?
HAYLEYNICHOLS, Haley Nichols. I am the owner of the building and also the owner of the business as well.
Sorry,
All
just
those
to
properties.
clarify, was that Hayley? Okay,
HAYLEY,
got it. Owner of business and building, correct?
correct.
Okay, go right ahead.
So my goal in creating a B&B was just to serve a need within the community. Also to test out some partnerships between businesses. I'm also the chair of the Chamber of Commerce and trying to get businesses working more closely together. And this is one way of doing that. So we can create like a suite of like a menu for the guests that come here and bring more people to Gig Harbor. I also was having a problem with the tenants here before and having enough parking. And so I was trying to find a different use for the building was really important that minimize the parking impact during the workday, during the work week. And I think that this does that very well. And additionally, I, just think that our community needs more places for guests to come and see our beautiful city. So that is the main reason that we want to move forward with this. I don't have any issues with what the city is asking in the section 10B or B and C, or I guess, what was that?
The
The recommendations, yeah, 1 through 3. I don't plan on applying for any permits because the conversion didn't require any major modifications other than moving desks around and putting a bed in there. I already have the business licenses in place, and as far as the findings regarding the number 2, which is the engineering report for the septic. The reason I couldn't move forward with that and having that ready for this hearing was because my engineer has requested us not to work with him anymore because of some of communications with the city. And so I have to find a new engineer that can draft a report. So I'm hoping that maybe Jeremy, you can help me find a new engineer that is willing to work with the city. I'm having the same thing with a plumber. So, but we got that resolved, and so that's through. And then as far as the fire inspection, that's no issue at all. So based on what you're asking for, I don't think we're going to have any problem complying with that. It just might take some time in getting an engineer on board to come and do the report for our septic.
Okay, and question for you, Ms. Nichols, looking at the, I guess Exhibit A, which is identified as applicant's floor plan, and even just the characterization of the proposal as a bed and breakfast, to be clear, is the bed and breakfast larger than this specific portion, or is this area the bed and breakfast? I'm just trying to wrap my head around what it all looks like.
So there's 2 floors. The downstairs is my my software business. So we have anywhere between 2 and 6 people coming to the office at any given time. Upstairs, there's one section that is rented out to Devoted Kiss for their office space. And then there's another street side unit that is a local artist. And then the back side of the business, about 800 square feet. So about 2/3 of the upper floor, what would be the bed and breakfast. It has a bathroom, a small kitchenette, and it's an open concept. So there's not a bedroom because it was a, big open office space. So we converted it into a studio floor plan.
Okay, so when I'm looking at the site plan, I guess I got a little confused with what the pink outline was and some of the, dining 11 by 11, kitchenette. Am I correct in my understanding that everything on the street side entry, those are the separate offices you talked about? And then the breakwater suite is everything else, and the dining and open studio, all that is actually within that area.
Yeah, and that faces out to the water. Yeah.
Got it.
It's all connected. The only closed area would be the bathroom.
Got it. Okay, so the structure is what's in bold and black, and that heavy pink rectangle is not depicting space. It was a way to.
Yeah, so I have a black and white copy, so I'm not seeing the pink, but yeah.
Sure, okay, no, I think I get it now. Okay, so thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, so my building, the way I have it, that I have to be owner occupied for my loan. So the downstairs will always be owner occupied by me and my other business. And then the part I rent out is the upstairs.
Got it. Okay. So I think now I do get it. So I think Mr. Hammer spoke to sort of shorter term rentals, and the lodging too is classified. I did not check if there's a term of art of bed and breakfast in the city, but your understanding of this being lodging 2 matches with the city, no matter what we call it. Is that an accurate way of explaining it?
Yeah, and I'm assuming once they come down with the regulations for short-term rentals for lodging level 1, we'll, be in compliance with those as well. I very similar concerns about, party uses within the building, and that's why we laid it out the way we did, and restricting it to 2 people, and making sure that it's, what I've heard is that if you make it 3 days or longer minimum, that it reduces whether or not people are going to use it for a party. Like, we're not going to do day use, right? We're not going to, have a bachelor party here or whatnot. So, and then also we keep our guests informed of like the noise ordinances and whatnot that are required of the other short-term rentals.
Okay, great. Well, I think that addresses the questions I had specifically for the applicant. Did you want to call on any of the other folks that you had attend the hearing today?
Megan, do you have anything to add, or are you good with my report?
Not necessarily. I think Kaylee's covered everything.
I'm gonna have to swear you in if you're gonna testify. So do you swear affirm to tell the truth in any testimony you give here today?
Yes, I do.
And could you clearly state and spell your name for the record?
Megan, M-E-G-A-N, Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I think Kaylee's covered everything clearly. And your observation of the outline is correct. I was the one who made that outline, and the pink section is just an extension to show like where I could put words in.
Okay, right. I think we're on the same page now,
Yeah.
for sure. So, okay, excellent.
You got
Thank you
it.
for clarifying
And
that.
that's it. Short and sweet. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you. Anything from anyone else on your team, Ms. Nichols? Mr.
No,
Hagan?
no, I think we're okay.
Okay, I do see we do have an attendee, someone identified as an Erin Gathram. Why don't we-
Yeah, she's the neighbor on Devoted Kiss side.
Okay. We do want to give Erin the opportunity to testify if interested. Hand is raised, okay. I don't know if we need to move Erin over to the panelist side to testify. Okay, and now you will probably need to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony you give here today?
Yes, I do.
And can you just clearly state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Erin, Erin, last name Gatherum, Gatherum.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Yes, so my father and I own the building adjoining on, I'm bad with directions, which side, but 8809 North Harborview. And we just came to show our support to Haley and team. We're supportive of their plans with the bed and breakfast. And that's it.
All right, thank you. I think then that is everyone that was signed up to testify. I'm going to go back to Mr. Hammer based on what we heard. I can't fathom he's going to have a ton to add, but I will give you that opportunity. Mr. Hammer?
I guess the only thing I'd like to add regarding lodging level 2, most times when we see uses like this, kind of a short-term rental Airbnb, or most of the times when we've seen these, they were permitted as lodging level 1. This wasn't because lodging level 1 in its definition indicates that it must be within a single family home. So really the only difference is the underlying use of the building in this case. So we determined that best fit within lodging level 2.
Right. And my sort of question about is bed and breakfast a term of art under the definitions in the code? Some in many jurisdictions it is. I just wanted to make sure I didn't.
Yeah, bed and breakfast is not mentioned in the code.
Not a term of art. Okay, so I think that everyone was on the same page in terms of Ms. Nichols essentially said, I understand what lodging level 2 is. And I note for the record that even if the municipal code were to change, if this approval has occurred, you then become a pre-existing legal non-conforming use. And you can ask Mr. Hammer about the implications off the record, but just wanted to be clear that that's the way that would work. And I think then I have everything I need. Did you have anything final, Ms. Nichols?
Nope.
Well, if only they were this easy all the time. I think the last one I had in Gig Harbor was quite a bit more complicated. So I can say that based on the exhibits that were admitted into the record, which was A through F, along with the staff report, and then the testimony that I heard here today, I see no issue with approving this application with the conditions that have been recommended by Mr. Hammer. So I will make every effort to produce a decision here in the next couple of weeks. Again, I'm not feeling great, but my team is good and we will make every effort to get it done in the next 2 weeks. But and when my decision comes out, it will be provided to your team. And then Mr. Hammer, if there are members of the public interested in seeing the decision, how would that work?
We could provide you with the contact info of the interested parties.
Sorry, I think ultimately if folks want the decision, I would reach out to the city and then city staff will ensure that they can receive a copy.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
We will
We've
provide them
gained
with a
hearing
copy of it.
examiners in the process, and I have gotten out of the sending and mailing decisions to individuals because I'm terrible at that. That said, I think we can end the hearing. Again, I'll produce a decision and the intent is to approve this proposal with the conditions recommended by city staff. So thank you, everyone, for taking the time to participate and be here. And with that, I wish the rest of you safety and good health, and hopefully I'll be back around to that side of things in the not too distant future. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Hearing Examiner. We hope you feel better soon.
Thank you very much. Bye now.